And we're live again. Waiting for people to join again. Yeah, I'm going to copyright that, not. Today, we are going to talk about shadow work. Hello, and welcome to the stream. Hey, Jessica, how are you? Thank you for coming. Long-haired, skinny-eyed toe. Hello, how are you? Appreciate you guys joining. I'm just trying to wait on a few people to enter, but I may start here soon anyway. But I was really surprised at a lot of the shadow work talk last night, and I thought, with so many people interested and still kind of discussing that, I thought maybe I would just come on and give my 2 cents about shadow work. How are you guys today? Coastal, hello, how are you? Shining a light on ourselves in order to darken the shadow, no doubt. That is right. Thank you. Yeah, so I even wrote this little chart thing down to kind of show us. Got it online. Kind of give an example. Oh, hold on. Let me get this right in the angle, guys. I'm still an amateur, okay? And my circles aren't the best. Just deal with it. But you can see in the middle how we have the self, and I'm completely failing at this. There we go. In the middle, we have the self, our outer world in the front, where our ego is. Behind us, the shadow, and our inner world behind us, and then the different levels of consciousness. So yeah. Hi, Hellboy. Welcome. Thank you for coming, and I hope you are well as well. Hellboy, this may actually be quite familiar to you because when we had our whole Twitch thing going on, I think you were there when I talked about this. So, and it really seemed to help them. So I'm excited to share it. I'm reading it out of my Book of Shadows, just some thoughts and collected information about this topic that I kind of gathered myself. So let me read some comments. Again, Coastal, cover of the chalice. Okay, so yeah, I'll go ahead and kind of jump right into it. So the shadow, or one's hidden or less desirable aspect of yourself. This is referring to an unconscious aspect of one's personality, in which one's conscious ego refuses to identify in oneself, the unknown or negative side of our unconscious self. We reject or remain ignorant to the bad, the ugly, or the negative part of the self. But with shadow work, we choose to discover that unknown part of ourself and find positive aspects while doing our shadow work. People with low self-esteem, anxieties, or false beliefs and trauma find themselves face to face with or battling these parts of their self or keeping the shadow hidden. Just read some comments. But as always, good review. Oh, thank you, Hellboy. I appreciate that. So before I continue, does everybody understand that or kind of get what the shadow part of ourself is? Because I have seen a few people kind of debate on what that means, what the shadow self is. So does everybody in here kind of have a good understanding of what the shadow self is? Strong silent type. Okay. Anyway, everyone carries the shadow in themselves, contrary to what some might say. The shadow can be both positive and negative. The shadow carries everything outside the light of consciousness. It is darker to those who choose to embody it in your conscious life. So being honest with oneself and shadow work can help with the battle of the ego, consciousness, and the shadow. It is also the rawest, most primitive side to a person. Sorry, I skipped a page. Anyway, instinct link, which is compressed in early childhood by our conscious minds, so lest it become the unknown. Dark sides of our personality, instinctive and irrational. When doing shadow work, you may discover a psychological projection in which you can perceive moral deficiency. Perception is reality. So these projections that we outwardly project from our shadow and the use of that power can create an illusion between the ego and the real world. Hi, Lady Bimewolf. I'm glad you made it. Or our reality. So in short, the shadow could be considered the unconscious or the unconscious part of ourselves that we reject, so we're not completely aware of at all times. The shadow can overwhelm a person's actions when, say, the conscious mind is shocked, confused, or paralyzed, thus making way for the shadow to take over, possessing the conscious mind. So the person standing in their own light will fall into their own unconscious traps. I think that kind of, to put that in a better understanding, when we say we get triggered about something, and that kind of gives us a hint that we need to be doing shadow work about whatever it was that triggered us. That is a perfect example of what I had just talked about. Kind of like falling into our own unconscious traps. The conscious then becomes a slave to the shadow. So the key to shadow work is merging the ego and the shadow as one unity and bringing it to your awareness consciously. Lilith 666. Hello, I was just thinking about your channel, got notified. Happened last time too. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Great name. So, but that will not mean balance always, because to get to this balance, your ego and shadow will have confrontation. Your morals will be reevaluated, and chaos and dissent. So you kind of got to truckle through that darkness before we can merge and bring it to light, or at least balance it. We always speak and seek after ascent, but often descent is required, then follows ascent. Shadow work makes convictions of the self unavoidable, so years of courage and strength. With this being said, instead of at times being possessed by the shadow becomes a real possibility with the ego working as one. And Coastal says being triggered means you're externalizing some of your own baggage and expecting others to change for your sake. Yes. Very good. I like that response. I agree. So when balancing after the hard truths and work, we begin to travel up the spiral in ascent. So we need to obtain awareness of the shadow, acceptance, and healing, then seek ascension. So can you guys I'm going to pause here for a little discussion about this. So can you kind of see this happening in the world right now, how I just kind of described in order us for hit that ascension or to climb up? we got to descent and truckle through that darkness. Do you guys believe that's what's going on in the world right now? I truly do. I feel like, we're kind of having a mass shadow alert on the planet, and that a lot of what we're seeing, a lot of these battles, a lot of this stuff that's coming up all over, people going crazy, all the Karens, all this stuff happening. If you kind of look from a bird's eye view at the world and all the crazy shit you've seen going on lately, I mean, I truly believe that people are kind of going through a mass shadow work spell, to reach that ascension process and the awakening. It's very visible, in my opinion. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that the masses are being forced into their shadow and confronting these issues kind of as a whole connective consciousness or collective consciousness? And Lady Blind Wolf says, what if you learn your triggers? Then you're aware and you can balance it, my darling, and understand why or what happened to trigger you. Right. And part of understanding what triggered you or what upset you in that process. Do you hear that? What the hell? Zombie apocalypse. Just kidding. Ignore it. Sorry, guys. Anyway, yes. And Coastal says that Lady Blind Wolf, if you do the work of integrating your shadow, those old triggers won't phase you. Right. Right. I kind of like to break it down and be like, well, why'd that affect me so much? And I'll just go through this whole process of literally emotionally breaking it down and then letting myself feel these emotions and kind of face it and say, okay, then comes the acceptance, then comes the unconditional love for myself and the shadow self. Yes, man talking. Yeah, it was on like a intercom thing. I don't know what the hell was going on out there. I still hear sirens. No, never a dull moment. And I lost my place. Damn them. Okay, so careful not to self-identify with the ego or shadow. When merged and balanced, assimilation of shadow gives a person body to integrate, right? Yeah. The shadow into your personality, producing the stranger, more aware version of you. It seems to happen each time we approach some form of doomsday. The same thing happened 2012 in Y2K. Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I was still quite young, but I do remember that, definitely. Spirit box. In person with PTSD will really struggle. Yes, they will. I actually have PTSD, so that took a lot of years. The reason I contracted PTSD happened a long time ago, but it did take years and years to work on. However, since I did, and it was very difficult though, but since I did, my nightmares have been lesser, and a lot of like some of my symptoms. So I say it could possibly help one's mind, or emotional stability as well to kind of go through this process. But I firmly believe everybody should go through this process on their own comfort level. If it just gets too much for you all at once to face multiple shit that you're dealing with or have dealt with, or even if it's minor, just go at it in a pace that you are comfortable with. It can really help to have a therapist help you work through it, provided it's financially possible. And yes, agreed. It's just therapy never really helped me. I'm not saying don't go to therapy, because it does help a lot of people. just personally, personally for me, it just didn't seem to get anywhere until I did quite deep shadow work. So, realization and discovery of balancing and merging the two is the starting point of ascent. Perhaps the shadow, the darker side of self, is the truest to our human nature and spiritual necessity. The outer self, or the ego, is the lie. The shadow and unconscious is the truth. Merge and create your reality, balanced and accepted at last. So to begin, you must be aware of your shadow, the parts of yourself you turn from or repress in your unconscious mind. We begin repression in childhood, so going quite far back. Again, that's what I mentioned yesterday in our live with Pagan Pathways and Amethyst Ascension. I had mentioned how I dealt with it when someone, I think they asked how to start shadow work. My suggestion was to go as far back as you can possibly remember in your childhood to anything that might have affected you or something you don't really like looking back on, or even you could just feel uncomfortable or indifferent about these particular things that happened in your childhood, or just things you frowned upon, and start there and just keep a diary log. And then you can kind of look back after years and say, wow, I really am proud of myself. I did a lot. But it did help me to learn to identify my triggers. Yes. And Erie's witchcraft, there are a lot of different kinds of therapy too. So one practitioner may not work as well as the other. I do agree. I do agree on that. I had some great therapists, I got to take responsibility when I say it didn't work for me, because I think at the time, just the processes and the things that they would tell me I should be doing, I kind of like battled with that. It was just like, nope, don't want to do it, don't want to face it, can't do it. So I have to take responsibility when I say it didn't quite work out for me. It kind of was my own doing, because you get into it or get out of it how much you put into it too. It can't just be the therapist working on it. And Hellboy says, I believe so. The more shadow work I do, more or less triggered I become, and the better I can handle different problems I didn't think I could before. Yeah, most definitely. Examples of the shadow could be selfishness, aggressiveness, impulse, self-centeredness, arrogance, shameful experience, and fears. And of course, trauma. People's behavior when they are battling the shadow would look like, example, judging others' flaws and hypocrisy, entitlement, and victim mentality. So things one would repress in their shadow can include addictions, anger, obsessive and compulsiveness, sexual deviancy, depression, self-sabotage, and limit in beliefs. So those are just like a few examples of some things that people can be going through and not even realizing that that is the part of them that they're trying to not accept. And sorry, reading comments. Coastal says, sounds like it was a resistance to owning your shit. We've all been there. Exactly. And like I said, kind of had to take responsibility for that. But I do own it now. Best believe this girl's come a long way, as we all have, I'm sure. So I am proud. But anyway, so explore these aspects of yourself, kind of be honest with yourself, face yourself, your fears, your dark desires, and maybe decisions, you weren't so comfortable with, that you kind of see a repetitive behavior out of. Only when we bring the shadow to the surface can we live truthfully, wisely, and gain access to our higher self and our very souls. So do not put up walls or divorce parts of yourself that you disapprove of. That's my advice to you guys about shadow work and my thoughts straight from my book of shadows. But yes, so that's kind of how I viewed shadow work, the shadow self, and helped myself with that. I hope this advice could help somebody here. And yeah, so how have you guys ever done any shadow work? I know some of you mentioned you've been working on it. Coastal, if I'm not mistaken, I think somebody had told me once they were actually into psychology. Was that you? Just wondering. Sorry, guys, just checking something here. Just wondering if it froze. No, it's fine. Okay. But anyway, I do hope that kind of helps clear a little bit up, for somebody that watches this and kind of looking for information on shadow work. Can be difficult stuff, but also necessary, especially in the spirituality world where we're trying to seek the best version of ourselves. Sorry. Oh, that's okay. And Lady Blind Wolf found a good 31-day series. Oh, amazing. And Lady Blind Wolf, you can always contact me if you need me, doll. Nanette, hello. How are you? Glad you made it. And Coastal might have been me. I've been incorporating Jungian stuff into my other work. Neat. And did some journals. Awesome. Yes. Yes. I used to kind of like roll my eyes, when people would tell me to journal, just because I didn't see the necessity in it until I did start doing it. And then later look back and you're just like, wow, like I actually made a lot of progress. It's quite cool, There's a lot that we forget about ourselves, and sometimes it resurfaces, other times we need little things like our journals. They're from keyboard and ancient internet lingo. Oh, I think I do remember that. What else? What were other ones? ASL. That one is old. That's a 90s one. What's that mean? I remember when chat rooms first came out, oh my God, like really big. And everyone was like sneaking into chat rooms in high school in the library. And the first thing everyone would type is ASL. Seems like I see a lot of witches leaving YouTube. Makes you wonder. Yeah. Yeah, the personal. Yeah, I do see actually a lot of influencers leaving and stuff. Shadow self is never easy, but it's always a great thing to do. Accept the different parts of yourselves, what's hidden in the shadows, emergent with the ego, and then understand oneself better. Yes, beautifully said, Hellboy. Beautifully said. So good. We got our shadow work discussion out of the way. Now I can just chat with y'all, like just it's Lucifer and chill over here. Anybody have anything interesting going on or any questions or topics I'm open to? I will continue to Lucifer and chill with any topics or questions you may have about anything, really. Oh, Lady Blind Wolf, I think that's mainly because YouTube is showing itself too hostile toward free speech. You know, it is. It is. What is your guys' opinion on this cancel culture as well? I'm just interested to see what other people think. And Lady Blind Wolf, they just are not uploading on their channels. I've noticed that too. I have. Especially a lot of the bigger, like OG witches of YouTube. If you can find a good labyrinth walking group, you can do some work too. I'm sorry you lost me on that comment. Did I miss something? I mean, I am a ditz too, so. Oh boy, I've been having a lot of dreams of Beelzebub. And lucid dreaming, how interesting. How have things been going with that? Have you and Beelzebub kind of established that bit of a bond? And I am happy to hear your lucid dreaming a bit better. When I did my path working with Beelzebub, my astral projection got a lot better, a lot more controlled, where I could do it when I wanted to, when I planned, instead of spontaneously. And it was much more vast. It was awesome. And what is that? Cancel culture is a bunch of spoiled children you've never had to deal with hard shit and like, yeah, who've never had to deal with hard shit in their life. You know what? I may agree with that. I do. I kind of do, you know? I just don't know how I feel. Like if it's something serious, like really serious, like if they really did some deprived crap to people, I understand that and they get caught, cool. But all this little stuff, just people literally looking and nitpicking to destroy someone's life, it's toxic. It concerns me. And I know a lot of other creators, because like there's people that are afraid to even like post. Just found out that the property next door was a former asylum and a country home, and this house was part of the original property. Oh my gosh, I wish I was close. I would so do a walkthrough reading. Oh yes, that is awesome. And Coastal says using labyrinths as a ritual. Oh, I see. Especially with a skilled guide, can be a formal way to enter your shadow and face some things. Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Thank you for that. And yes, I have imagined certain things like that myself and with spirits, but I don't think I'd like a physical guide or really even had a plan with that. But I do or have done similar rituals. And Lady Blind Wolf, so just like TikTok, much, yeah, TikTok. TikTok. Pretty much Lady Blind Wolf, we canceled her. That's what canceled or cancel culture consists of. But she deserved it. That was bad. And Coastal Erie's witchcraft. It's that nitpicking that's gotten out of hand. Exactly. Like it's just insane. And hell yeah. So yes, and Hellboy, have you noticed any recent astrals lately? I told you I seen a few things, a cloud of gray smoke in the front door, and then a few weeks later, that couple had died in the fire around the corner. Shit. Wow. You know, you could vlog that sometime. That would be awesome, Lady Blind Wolf. I would watch it. I would love to see that. I mean, if you're allowed. Don't go to jail or anything, because that would suck and I'd miss you. And Coastal says, it's something I'd like to create for myself, a drum circle, labyrinth group, and more. Yeah. I've been thinking of something similar myself lately, and that is actually a really interesting topic, Coastal. Maybe we could, talk about that sometime. I'm going to be like setting up lives with people in the near future. I mean, if that's something you would feel comfortable talking about or kind of bringing ideas forward, we could do that. That sounds cool. Or are you going to talk about it on your channel? That's really awesome, actually. You don't hear, I love things you don't hear too much about, A lot of peeps wants quick results without doing the study. Oh, isn't that true? Unfortunately. See, back in the day when I first started my practice, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all these resources. We really had to kind of learn ourselves and through books. But it was quite interesting. And then in school, if I got caught trying to find any occult-like books, I remember I went to go check out. Now you're talking the only like punk goth chick in high school in this small ass tiny hole in the wall town, very religious town. Okay, everybody knew who I was and thought I was like just this awful satanic killer. But anyway, I went to go get a palm reading book from the school library. And you believe, oh, that ain't supposed to be here. And they gave me like the longest lecture on how evil it was. And I swear it was insane. But yeah, just funny story. I wish I knew some people who'd be open to forming a paranormal research group locally. Another cool story. We had a local one in Rome, and I would do walkthroughs with them and give my spiritual rating on it. And then we would kind of hook it up to like their findings on their equipment or things they experienced. And it was really cool. We did the Rome Capitol Theater. It was around the time I just moved there. At the time, I did not know much about the place, but it was really cool. That's like awesome goals. You should do it. Lady Blind Wolf, I could go by and take pictures of the house if you want. That'd be awesome. Thank you. I'll see if I can pick anything up. That would be really interesting. I just love things like that, guys. Hellboy, I've been seeing some interesting, and also every time when I have the sense of fear or something that I can't handle, I just need to call on Beelzebub and see how the problem is getting rid of. Yes, that is awesome, Hellboy. I'm so happy for you. Very interesting guy to work with. Very. Oops. I'm messing stuff up in the chat, guys. Forgive me. Let me fix all this stuff. Ooh, let me go. Oh, okay. Catching up. But I haven't seen the clouds since then, but about all the crazy that's been going on around this neighborhood. Yeah. Why I missed your other live, had a meth head running up and down the road acting nuts, and they put that homeless shelter here. So I think oh, it could be. Man, I am so sorry. And Coastal says, I might have already talked about it in my old podcast. We riffed it on a lot of stuff. Awesome. Is your podcast on your channel? Do you still do it? I will happily support you guys. Magicalmusings.net. Oh, it's like you knew I was going to ask. And Nano, or Nanit, sorry, Nano. I put Nana and Ohio together and came up with Nano. I don't know. These things happen, guys. Okay, Ohio don't have much in that area. Aw. Well, maybe soon. You're a bit laggy. Well, that's all right. And Lady Blind Wolf, because they are saying that is arson, and I know that the people had been making some illegal substances. Ooh. But if you want me to do a video walkthrough of this house, yeah, I could. But I forewarn you, the landlord decorated it ugly as sin. Well, I happen to like sin. Oh, just kidding with you. Oops, sorry, almost knocked everything over. Which I've done before in lives, as we all know. Never know what you're going to get with me, guys. Seriously. Love to do some hunts and see what I pick up. That would be awesome. Are you a medium as well, Nana? I don't know if we talked about that before or not. And if we did, I'm sorry if I forgot. I do have bad memory issues. The address had to be broken up. The chat won't let me do it together. Oh, I see. Well, I will check that out. And Nano works. Nano. It reminds me of something like, I don't know, like a technology or a robot or something. Nanobite. Oh, God. And Julianne, you know what? It'll look like it freezes for a minute or pauses, and then it's like, bam, list of chats. Okay, if you remember, I had done some ghost vlogs last Samhain. Yeah, on your... And Julianne, hello, welcome. How are you? Thank you for joining the chat and stream. And Hellboy says, I still haven't formed a formal pact with him yet. It's just I'm trying to wait for the right moment and fully understand the responsibilities. I appreciate his patience and his teaching. That is awesome. And I'd say you're going about it the perfect way, Hellboy. You don't have to rush it. You know, wait for, like you said, the right moment when you feel like it's good and that you're confident in that. Because just one thing I do warn people about while working with these entities is definitely if you make a deal or a working with them and you say, this is going to be my part, this is going to be your part, you definitely want to make sure you can stick to that, or at least try to as much as possible. I've been dragged for that when I made a few mistakes early on. So you're going about it absolutely right, Hellboy. I'm actually very proud. And sorry guys, trying to find where we were. And my grandfather lived behind Herbert Bayumeister. Did I butcher that? Probably. And he was a serial killer. Awesome. I mean, not that he killed people. I just have a fascination with serial killers, okay? What? Don't look at me like that. Not sure, just know I can pick up vibes. Hey, you might be, but I've also met people that can sense energies around, you know, they don't necessarily see spirits and stuff, but I've met a lot of people that can sense when they're there. So that's really cool. I can't say much about Indiana, but this town is a bit more progressive than most. I don't know if I've ever been to Indiana. I'm a serial killer, frosted flakes. You know what? I love that. Love that saying. Like, cereal is my all-time favorite food. Love cereal. Yes, and it is a food. It counts. It counts. Okay? I've eaten it for dinner, lunch, breakfast, snacks, and my midnight snack. I mean, cereal's perfect. And Julianne, good, thanks. Sounds like it's paranormal talk. Well, it's turning into that, honey. We're kind of just talking about whatever. We went over shadow work and my thoughts on it from my book of shadows. And yeah, that came to an end, and I'm lonely. Okay. I'm lonely. So we're Lucifer and chilling right now. We're just going to talk about anything. How's that? But no, honey, originally it is about shadow work. And if you have any questions or anything that you would like to ask or any topics you want to discuss, feel free, guys. Just a open live, just gonna chill and have fun, get to know some of you, a bit better. And Lady Blind Wolf, yeah, Jim Jones was from Indiana, had a church in Indianapolis, and Charles Manson was at several boys' schools here in the state. What the hell they putting in the water there? I want some because, I mean, it's crazy as they may have been, you got to admit they were smart, sorta. Not in the end, no. Hellboy, anything that gives you joy, it's valid. Yep. And that's interesting, lady. Did I get that right? Yeah. And yes, anything that gives us joy is valid. Constantly seek joy, no matter what, even in your darkest times, guys. It will keep you going. There will always be a silver lining. You just got to see it or look for it. I think a lot of us need to hear that, especially in these times. Like, there's a lot of sad people in the world. The world is just, yeah. So just know you all are valid to me, and I do love y'all, and hope that you find your joy. And Lady Blind Wolf says, well, Jimmy Hoffa was also from here, and they never found him. Do you guys ever wonder if some of these people like fake their disappearance or their death, and if there's like some other land on Earth we don't know about? I'm quite certain that if they wanted to hide land from us, all they'd have to do is literally not put it on the map and tell us there is no other place, right? And if you remember correctly, I had talked about stuff that happened at the blind school, 3 kids who died on the property. That's right. I remember you talking about that. Great comment. Coastal says, Lady Blind Wolf Hoffa's buried under the old pub on the corner. You drive by it all the time. Coastal, where are you from? Are you from the UK? Just wondering. Just wondering. In the old days, it'd be way easier to fake your death. Yeah, that's true. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Me neither. And then it says, yep. I agree with that. Would you guys ever fake your death? And why or why not? One night I'm just going to come on here and we're just going to play Never Have I Ever. That'd be hilarious. Canada. Oh, okay. Awesome. I'm blind, so my ass isn't driving anytime soon. I need a man like I need a driver's license. So great. So great. I love that comment. I see your sarcasm hasn't gone away. Love it. Love it. Canada, though. What's it like on that side of the world, guys? How's it all going over there? And how's that game go? Never Have I Ever. We used to play it, at parties and stuff. And you would basically say, whoever's turn it is, never have I ever done a live stream, for example. And if anybody else playing has done it, they would have to drink. So how would we do that? Like non-alcoholic. It would be fun though. You're too sloppy, but if I was to fake my death, how to escape the bullshit of the world and just live in the woods and become one with nature, understand myself better. Awesome. That's quite interesting because lately, I've been thinking about that and I have this crazy impulse to do that. Like literally just go find a cottage out in the middle of nowhere in the woods and connect with nature and live my life and live off the land away from everything. It sounds so appealing right now. I feel like 2020 is doing that to everybody. Oh, come on, you want to lose it. Yeah, that's why you never eat or drink anything whenever we talk, because I almost choked you before accidentally. So true. That was funny. And Coastal says, I'd be fine just living the rest of my life on an isolated island, living off the land. Tanji's from Canada. I feel like I know a lot of people. I feel like a lot of YouTubers are from Canada, just saying. I know we have YouTubers from all over. It just seems like the most that I see. Yeah, if you go on a cross pass, they used to do it every week on Popcorn Party root beer. We could figure something out. 2020 is separating wheat from chaff. Most people have never had to face themselves without distractions. Ooh. I've said that. I've said it a million times, and I like that. Smart person. Smart person. Yes. Yes. I want to go on about that, but I don't know if YouTube would like that too much. But yeah, so I still like the whole purchasing an island idea. Who's with me? We could just do that, right? Like Witchcraft Island. That'd be awesome. Oh, wow. You're an introvert too, so this has just been a fun break from the norm. Yeah. Same with Chris and I. We just sit here, chill. I don't talk to many people. Sorry, not without another sighted person, my ass. An island full of witches. That sounds like a great idea. We can market it like a theme park or resort. Yes, that'd be awesome. Awesome. Wow, my head just went like way out on left field with that. I started planning ideas and like a mansion we'd live in and like my own cauldron, like the Sims pack I have. Like I'm really jealous of their cauldron and their magical island. Like I want one. I think there's actually an app for Never Have I Ever. Is there really? I used to love that game. You find out a lot, and I would so strategically do things to make everybody else at the party argue amongst each other because most of them were couples, So I would just purposely say uncomfortable things to get them going. I can be evil, but it's all in good fun. Still trying to get your blind ass to Florida. Ooh, I hear Florida ain't doing too well right now, which, yeah. I actually grew up in Florida. I don't really miss it, but there are a few people there that I do miss. Old style hearth, open or open fire, big cauldron, giant wooden stirring spoon. Yes, yes. See, that sounds like a good time to me. It sounds like fun. And yeah, guess things are going to go in there on time and have to learn patience. Well, guys, I've been on for 50 minutes. You know, time flies when we have fun. I love these chats with you guys. Like, I wished I discovered some way to go live earlier, but, you know, it's like pulling teeth with tweezers with YouTube when you're under 1,000. I'm so close. But at least this lovely app now allows me to stream off my phone to YouTube. So yay, I get to talk to you guys, interact. And starting tourist campfires, double, toil and trouble. Nice. See, I like your guys' style. I like the way your mind works. We could go far. If we had our own island, we could go far. But well, it's been fun and it's been real, guys, but I'm probably gonna jump off. Yeah, it's getting late. But as always, I love you guys, and you will catch the start next time. Okay, well, I appreciate you all coming, and I do love to see you guys every time. Like, thank you, and I appreciate the support and you guys just being here and listening to my boring ass ramble. You know, it's very appreciated because not everyone can tolerate me, so thank you guys. Once my move, I'll be able to get back into spell work videos. Amazing. Yes, because we still got to do a live together, Lady Blind Wolf, as well. It is fun. You know, sometimes it is just nice to sit and chat with people, like about anything and nothing, you know? It's just, it feels nice. Okay, guys. Well, I love you all, and I will catch you next time. And I'll be posting my lives in advance now. I figured out how to do that today, too. So just keep an eye out, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.